In the cyclical world of cybercrime, new ransomware groups emerge almost every week, most of them fading into obscurity just as quickly as they appeared. They rebrand, they copy-paste code from other operations, and they eventually collapse under the weight of their own incompetence. But in late 2021, the landscape shifted. A new player arrived on the scene, not by imitating the past, but by engineering the future of digital extortion. They called themselves BlackCat, also known as ALPHV, and they quickly established a reputation for being the most sophisticated, efficient, and ruthless ransomware operation the world had ever seen. Their rise was not just a story of a new piece of malware, it was a story of the professionalization of crime. The first thing that set BlackCat apart was the underlying technology. For years, most ransomware was written in C++ or Delphi, languages that are powerful but relatively easy for security researchers to analyze and reverse engineer. BlackCat did something different. They wrote their ransomware in Rust. This was a deliberate, strategic decision. Rust is a modern, memory-safe language that is notoriously difficult to decompile and analyze. By building their malware in Rust, the developers behind BlackCat made it significantly harder for security tools to flag their activity and for analysts to understand exactly how the payload functioned. Furthermore, Rust allowed them to easily compile the malware for different operating systems. While most ransomware focused on Windows, BlackCat could attack Windows, Linux, and, most crucially, VMware-as-a-Service servers. By targeting the virtual machines that power the data centers of the world's largest corporations, they could shut down entire businesses with a single, surgical strike. But the real genius of BlackCat wasn't just the code, it was the business model. They operated as a Ransomware-as-a-Service, or RaaS, platform. In this ecosystem, the core developers, the ones who maintain the code and the infrastructure, recruit affiliates. These affiliates are the ones who actually do the hacking. They are the ones who find the vulnerabilities, exploit the networks, and exfiltrate the data. BlackCat provided the platform, the customer support, and the negotiation portal, and in exchange, they took a cut of every successful ransom payment. This division of labor allowed them to scale incredibly quickly. They didn't need to be experts in every aspect of hacking, they just needed to be experts in running a platform that attracted the best, most aggressive talent in the criminal underground. What truly terrified the cybersecurity community was BlackCat's adoption and refinement of triple extortion. In the early days of ransomware, it was simple: you pay, you get your files back. Then came double extortion: you pay to get your files back, and you pay to prevent them from leaking your stolen data. BlackCat took it to a third level. If a company refused to pay, BlackCat would not only leak the data and keep the systems locked, but they would also launch distributed denial-of-service (DDoS) attacks against the company's public websites, flood their executives with harassing phone calls, and even reach out to the company's customers and employees directly, shaming them and pressuring them to force the company to pay the ransom. They turned extortion into a psychological campaign. They understood that the leverage wasn't just the encryption, it was the reputation and the operational continuity of the victim. Their targets were never random. They were calculated. BlackCat avoided the scattergun approach of low-level criminals who hit hundreds of small targets. Instead, they focused on high-revenue organizations, healthcare providers, tech firms, critical infrastructure, and professional services. They knew that these organizations had the most to lose. If a hospital system's servers went down, they couldn't afford to wait for a backup restoration that might take weeks. They needed the decryptor, and they needed it yesterday. BlackCat turned the victim's own business imperative, the need to function, into a weapon against them. This professionalization also manifested in their customer service. BlackCat maintained a public-facing portal on the dark web that was remarkably user-friendly. Victims who were hit by the ransomware could log in, chat with a negotiator, and even download a test decryptor to prove that the criminals could indeed restore their files. It was an inversion of the corporate experience. The attackers were helpful, they were responsive, and they operated with a business-like efficiency that was deeply unsettling. They even had a dedicated, leak site, where they would publish the names of companies that refused to pay, turning the act of extortion into a form of public spectacle. It was a brand strategy designed to instill fear in future victims. The cat-and-mouse game between BlackCat and law enforcement has been one of the most intense conflicts in the history of cybersecurity. The FBI and international task forces have dedicated massive resources to tracking their servers, infiltrating their ranks, and seizing their infrastructure. There have been moments of significant victory, where law enforcement has managed to disrupt their operations and even seize decryption keys. Yet, the resilience of the BlackCat model is its greatest strength. Because the infrastructure is decentralized, and because the affiliate model allows the brand to survive even if the core developers are forced to relocate or regroup, BlackCat has proven incredibly difficult to permanently extinguish. They have rebranded, they have shifted their tactics, and they have adapted to every defensive measure thrown at them. The lesson that BlackCat taught the world is that the era of amateur hour in cybercrime is over. We are no longer dealing with rogue hackers in basements, we are dealing with criminal enterprises that operate with the efficiency, the strategy, and the marketing savvy of a modern technology startup. They study our defenses, they exploit the gaps in our processes, and they iterate on their tactics faster than most organizations can update their software. The rise of BlackCat serves as a brutal reminder that security is not a set it and forget it checkbox.